Welcome to today's Zoomuse event, sponsored by SICA, the Subud International Cultural Association, featuring today the poetry of Ahmad Tony Miles. My name's Andrew Hall, as I've said, and I'm here with his man Schultz-Volberg. Tony Miles, Ahmad Miles.
Ahmad Miles.
Ahmad, all right. He's become more Ahmad than Tony. Ahmad is a man of many parts. He's originally from the UK, but he's lived extensively in Canada and in the UK. He was opened in Vancouver in 1977, according to his bio. Then he trained back in the UK in traditional or classical Chinese acupuncture, which he calls acupuncture of the inner tradition. And he's practiced acupuncture for well over 30 years. And that informs not only his practice, but a lot of his worldview and his philosophy, I'm sure. In addition to that, Ahmad's quite a writer. He's one of the few among us who can say that he's a published poet and that he's a prize-winning poet. He's also written books. 5 years ago, he wrote a book called The Tao of Well-Being, which is the Chinese perspective on health and well-being. And in the 5 years since, the writing has begun to pour out of him in his own words. He's started to write more poetry. And he's also written recently a discursive article on the significance of the COVID-19 pandemic according to the ancient Chinese perspective, which has he's salted with quotations from the Tao Te Ching, such as, "Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear?" which is terribly evocative metaphor. It's a pleasure to introduce Ahmad and to ask him to take it from here.
Okay, thank you. So the first poem is a poem that I wrote on Easter Monday of this year. So COVID had got going and I was just profoundly moved by the whole experience of Easter. I have no idea why, but I was. And so this poem came out of it. So this is for all of us. And it's just called Easter Monday. May all of us, all sentient beings, feel better today, our aches and pains less. May we be the root, the trunk, the branch, the leaf, and the blossom. May our voices be the gull's cry and the silence of the trees. May we sail our ships into the mystery. May we see the horizon and the stars beneath our feet. May we be surprised by our own hearts. And may jubilation gurgle in our bellies. May we know and be more deeply known. So that's the first one. Paul, you want to ask me something? No? Okay, great. Yeah. The second one is the longest poem in this lot. Nothing I write is ever very long. I like things that are kind of brief. And this one I wrote 7 years ago. And it's called Amor Dei, Love of God. There is a deep rhythm playing beyond my skin, beyond my organs, beyond my blood, playing beyond the night and the day, beyond my ancestors, beyond the mystery and the future. It comes to me in the silence, after hours of mutterings and stumblings, after miles of walking one way and then another. It comes after everything is finished, and all the outside is gone. When it comes, I rush to it with my whole heart, like a man running from a train down the platform to meet his lover. When it comes, I know I have called without knowing I called. When it comes, it feels like it's always been there, waiting for the right moment, a surprise just around the corner, something to bump into, something that burns into my heart, that drinks up my tears, that knows the whole story. When it comes, I can stop. I can sit down and close my eyes. I can smile. I can listen, as if my body has left itself by the warm dock, by the shading tree, by the wise mother. I never want it to end. This vast, huge pulse soaring through my veins. I never want it to end. This mountain breaking through the sky. I never want it to end. This waterfall pouring down into the endless depths of oceans within oceans. Every day I want my voice to tell this story. Every day I want my eyes to see this path. Every day I want my ears to hear this unimaginably beautiful song. In my hands to hold this star, this child, this jewel, this lotus. I never want it to end. I want to sing it. I want to become it. I want it to become me. Amor Dei, love of God. And next poem. This one was in the teaser for everybody, but I just love it so much. I just want to read it. And it's called, and this was published earlier this year, in celebration of today. It's called In Celebration of Today. And it starts with a quotation from the great poet Winnie the Pooh from House at Pooh Corner, where Winnie the Pooh says, "We'll go because it's Thursday, and we'll go to wish everybody a very happy Thursday. Come on, Piglet." After this, my poem pales in significance to that. Measuring the hours and the days, I risk losing the joy of this moment. Measuring life by the busyness of my mind, I risk losing myself. Looking with the outside eye only gives the outside vision, the surface tension, beneath which the current flows and the unseen fish finds its way. At what point does the constraint of circumstance lose its magnetism? And I, a boundless soul, am released in free fall to dance like a dervish, to smile upon the face of the beloved. Can it be today, as I drink my breakfast coffee and gaze upon the ocean? Can it be today? So that's in celebration of today. And now we're going across the ocean. Usually this time of year, I am in Provence, usually for about a month, and staying with my friend Leonard LaSalle, who I'm sure a lot of you know. And I've been going there for years, not this year. And his place, which is 5 miles down a road that ends at a mountain, surrounded by cherry orchards and vineyards, and it's kind of, the core of the house is like a 15th century basic house. And Leonard called it Les Mûriers, the mulberry trees. There are these 2 huge mulberry trees outside the place. So I'm really missing not being there. So I wanted to include Provence. This is in Provence, southern France, where I would be living if I weren't living here in Victoria. So here goes. The two mulberry trees, lovers embracing overhead, create a haven of shade for those of us below. The breeze threads its way through the trees, through my mind. It sweeps clear all the spaces, all the openings. I have nothing to do. The quail quieten my voice. The sky stills my movements. Lucian's nude, a fertility goddess, stretches beneath the sun and invites me to be. My legs are heavy now as I walk beyond the house, up the baked path of Les Muriers, carrying plums after tea with my friends. The sun illuminates everything. Even the shadows are radiant here in Provence. The silence has its voice as well as the trees. My labored breath still adds something to the fig trees, the apple and pear, the rosemary bush. The depth of silence returns me to myself. My eyes see, my ears hear, my brain is empty, a comfortable place, like a well-loved tale. Here, in Leonard's suite, beauty, a refugee, has found a home. The 15th century cupboard door, the exposed ceiling beams, the embroidered cushions and Persian carpets. Is it an oasis? I don't care. I plunge into this ocean and go where it takes me. Yay! I'll just keep going unless somebody interrupts me. So I'm back from Provence. I am in Victoria. And one of my favorite places in Victoria is Government House, which is the Governor General's official residence, where teams of volunteers look after these beautiful gardens. And so I love to go and sit there. So this is called the Governor General's Garden. I am sitting on the wooden bench. Nobody here. Nobody here. In the wind, the Garry oaks bow down to the earth, even as they reach for the heavens. The spruce dances, arms aloft, before the mazy sky. The foxgloves, the yucca, the lilies, the rosemary, all the tribes are the chorus to this arboreal performance. Underneath, slowly, silent to my ears, the roots reach for one another, an invisible communion, blessing their own creation above. Who are we? We are all here. Back across the ocean, folks, to Northumberland, the most northeasterly part of England before you get to Scotland, and where a very dear friend of mine lives, who I visit with whenever I'm over there. And whenever I go and visit with her, something happens, something quite remarkable happens. So I won't be there this year, but anyway, I was there last year in the autumn, after I'd been in Provence. So this is called Paravati in the autumn. So Paravati is a name I gave her. It's not her real name, but it could well be. So Paravati in the autumn. Is this okay, this pace okay, just going through the poems? Yeah, okay. Just stop me if you... in the autumn stillness, the garden dying before our every step. Parvati has invited me to dig up gold buried 8 years deep in her garden. Our spades signal our intent. The gold, concealed, illuminating the darkness, is brought into the light. Shining and shimmering, the coins flow into her hands. The ancient Chinese sages tell us autumn's symbol, gold within the earth, the hidden wisdom of ourselves. Is her hidden treasure finally surfacing for all to see? And are she and I witnesses to the changing time, the deeper measure of her next step? She was in the process of moving home, and so we literally were digging up gold in the garden. And I just thought it's no coincidence, you know, that I'm there. She didn't do it before I got there. She didn't do it after I got there. She got it when I was there. Who knows the ancient Chinese significance of this act? So, accident, coincidence? I don't think so. Anyway, here's almost at the end now, folks. Here's a prize-winning poem. $200. I won $200. It's called Tree. Oh, you binders of the earth, you who anchor life in the land and in me, whose generosity creates a shelter, even for strangers, and a safe harbor for many. How do you see us? I know of people, even children, who tell me you speak of the origins of the world to those who can listen, who have been guided by you in seeming silence and seeming stillness through the snow to safe harbor. Can we recognize you as our elders? Even the pencil hums when you play with the wind and sing your songs of ancient beginnings and of futures yet to come. My Cree wife, who was, would go out in the night into the forest amongst the dormant plants, the bears and the cougars, and sit peacefully with her night tribe, the great arboreal people, who shared what can only be shared in the dead of night, the deep darkness which alone knows your name. She was clad in the wisdom of the trees. She was clad and masked in cedar bark and spruce root. Her cedar mask closed her outer eye, and her inner eye opened. Last but not least, a poem I wrote for my friend Richard Coleman, who many of you probably knew, who died a while ago. And pretty soon after he ended up in hospital with, from his stroke and heart issues, I went to see him in the hospital and to do a latihan. And his face was all screwed up and his voice was screwed up. And so I said, well, let me position myself, so that you, however your vision is, you have a sense of where I am in the space. So I found that place. And then I asked him, I said, Rashad, am I as handsome as I always was? And he paused and he said, can I lie? And So when, when he said that, I knew he was okay. And I said, what's going on? What's happening? He said, purification. He said, it's okay. Everything's okay. It really is. And anyway, I wrote a poem, which is called Rashad. A soul scout, scanning the far horizon. The foot always, always on the road ahead. The easy smile and the hard knowing. The unspoken question, do you have the courage? While the lips spoke only love. The easy smile and the hard knowing. The unspoken question, do you have the courage? While the lips spoke only love. God bless you, Rashad. God bless all of us. Yeah. So there are my poems. That's it. And I don't mind if you don't want to ask me anything.
That was delightful, Ahmad. What sinuous, sensuous poetry. So I see Rianti wants to ask a question. Can you unmute yourself, Rianti?
Yes, I can unmute. I think I am unmuted. Do you hear me?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
It's not really a question. I am going to have to leave fairly soon, but I want to tell you that your poetry is opening an incredible passage to your spirit, to my spirit. And you are one of the mystical poets. And I really, really appreciate what you are doing. And so that's all I want to say. I don't have any question. My questions are answered with your poetry. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Does somebody else? Oh, Leanna wants to speak. You have to unmute yourself, Leanna.
Yes, I was moved to tears more than I wanted to be. It's very, very deep, extraordinary images. I really, really, I'm not familiar with your work, so I really, really have enjoyed getting to see it, hear it. I would be interested in the name of the one that the word I remember is arboreal performance. Arboreal performance. Do you know the name of that poem? It's celebrated.
Yeah, but is it? It's called Tree.
It is just called Tree. Okay, that was really stupendous. I want to share it with a friend. Where is your poetry? Where could one find it?
Nowhere right now. I mean, I've been writing for a while, not just poetry, but plays and all kinds of stuff. But I'm just so lazy. I'm just a really lazy person. And
I don't believe that, but I think you don't have it on Subud Creative or any site.
No, I know I've got to put it somewhere. And Emmanuel said, "Yeah, get published," you know.
Yeah,
and,
yes, I'd love to have it out there where others can enjoy it too.
Yeah, I know I've got to do that.
What we're going to do is we'll post this recording and the reading. And if Ahmad wants to give us the text to the poems he's read, we'll post that with the video.
Yeah,
so
sure.
You can have it there and share it from that point.
Yeah, no.
I think Leo is the next person. Leo, go ahead.
All right. Thank you. I really enjoyed your poetry. I'm sorry I arrived a little late. I would have wanted to hear more, but as Andrew says, I can listen to recordings. So I'm grateful for that. And I just wanted to appreciate your delivery and the way you read the poems. It was really, I felt really sort of a coming together both of the content of the poem and the experience of hearing it. So thank you for that. In terms of finding an easy way to share poetry, thing I found is there's a website called hellopoetry.com. And I find as soon as I write a poem that I want to share, I just quickly type it in there and then it's published. And there's so much stuff on there that it's, most people, unless you're looking for something, it's kind of gets lost in the thing, but at least it's out there. And then if I feel I want to share it further, I then take a screenshot of it and then post it on Facebook and Instagram and from there. So that's just a suggestion if that works for you, Ahmad. Thank you.
I kind of tend to let things just emerge in their own way, you know. So I wrote this article called "The True Significance of COVID-19," and that's kind of gone out all over the place. And now there's a retreat center who want me to do seminars with them about all of that, you know. And I thought, okay, I'll think about that. So it's more like that. And the article only got written because I don't know if you know Ridwan Isaac in London.
Oh yeah, for sure, certainly.
Well, we're close friends, and I always stay with him when I'm in London. I go every year, and we were just discussing, you know, this whole thing I was talking about with COVID-19. He said, "This is really original thought. You need to write an article." So I did. But if he hadn't said that, I don't know if I would have written it. You know what I mean? I'm just this lazy kind of person. But I am going to get more committed around my writing. Yeah.
And anyway, any idea where we can find that that article of yours?
I can send it.
Thank you.
If you email me, I'll send it to everybody who wants it.
Can you put the link in the chat? That would be convenient.
Your email, maybe, in the chat?
Yeah, what's your email?
Okay, I'm just looking for chat.
At the middle of the bottom.
Yeah, I see a message from Susilawati saying, "Thank you so much, Ahmad." So
You could just tell us as well.
You can simply reply all and type it in.
yeah, it says type message here. So
Yes.
I'll just put my
I just
it's Ahmad Acupuncture.
wanted to ask you, Ahmad, if you were lazy.
She froze a moment.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you if you were lazy when you took that bicycle trip down the west coast of the Canada and the United States with Raphael Bate, my good friend Raphael Bate.
Yeah, well, I only went as far as Portland. That was
Oh,
2002.
okay.
It was 2002. And,
Okay, you only went to Portland. Yeah, that's.
yeah, he
Oh,
carried on,
200
as you know,
miles.
to Mexico, and
Yeah.
I think he overdid it. I think that was the beginning of his kidney issues. You know, it was just too much. So I was like, because it's like I've written my email address, and then it says to everyone. So have you got it?
That's right.
You have to hit return. Hit return.
Return
There's no return.
on your
No,
keyboard.
on your keyboard.
Enter.
Enter.
Yeah.
There it is.
now
It's
we
there.
have it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm not great with technology. Sorry about that.
Would someone else like to ask a question or make a comment to Ahmad?
I just want,
Ismana is asked to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you as well. And it was so beautiful because just last year I went and we stayed at Leonard Lazar's house. And it just really felt transported back to the place. It was amazing. So how you painted the images with your words, it's beautiful, really wonderful. My favorite one was the last one. That really, really spoke to me very, very much. Thank you.
Yeah, it's well, he just creates beauty. You know, he's taking up painting again.
Yes. Oh, that's wonderful.
He's going to be doing portraits. You know, so I'm really glad about that. Yeah,
That's a place out of this world. I just love that place. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
It is.
I
It
didn't
is.
mean to interrupt. Sorry, did you want to say something else, Ismana?
No.
Okay. Leanti, go ahead.
okay, so I just wanted to say I was at the La Salle, at least probably 20 years ago. And your poem took me right back there. It's amazing with all the sensation and the feelings. And well, thank you for that. Thank you for all of it. But that was really special. Yeah. You really
Yeah,
you capture the essence, you know. of things. You really do. Thank you. And I didn't get your I went to get a pencil. I didn't get your email address.
Well, it's all
At the bottom of your screen, there's an icon that says chat. If you click on it, it will open up and you'll see Ahmad's.
Okay, great. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Okay, we're going to go back to Leanna. She's been waiting to say something.
Well, just one sentence that I don't think Ahmad has the opportunity to be lazy in getting the poems out, because I think you have a real gift and it touches people so very deeply. And so I think you have an obligation to share that gift out in the world, because I had 2 or 3 poems I would love to have sent for someone and referred other people to, because they move me so deeply. So I think you got to do that. Got to get them out there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will. Honest to God.
Okay.
The next question is from Maya Waterman. Go ahead, Maya.
Yeah, I lived in Tunbridge Wells with Leonard and the crew for many, many years. And he came to Los Angeles just before COVID. It was just such a joy to see you. And your poems are really from your soul. It's like so moving, and to me you have a really special gift that touches people. And you know, my poetry is very different. Like, I just really envious of your gift. You are amazing, and don't be lazy.
Well, I can't take any credit for it, because I feel it coming through like a train, you know, and it's just coming through, and then I'm just kind of tweaking it, really. I just feel, I mean, I can't even remember my own poems. I have to read them. I don't have them in my head or anything, you know. Yeah.
Do you edit them ever at all?
Yeah, I go over them. Even for this, I went over them and thought, oh, I don't really like that. I'm going to change it. I'm always changing everything. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And our next question is from Halima Polk. Halima, go ahead.
Hi, Ahmad. Thank you so much. This is such a beautiful reading. And as Leanna said, so deeply touching, very touching. So, I mean, I could barely pick out a poem that I like better than another poem, because they were all so good. One of the lines that I loved, which I managed to scribble down because was, and I think I've got it, beauty as a refugee has found her home here. That's from the Mulberry Tree poem.
Yeah, beauty has found a home.
Yeah, beauty has found a home.
Here in Leonard's suite, beauty, the refugee has found a home. Yeah.
This was really lovely. And I really, when you first started, I think you started off with the poem Amor Dei. Amor Dei.
It was my second poem. Yeah.
So, oh yeah. Okay. I like that a lot too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else want to say anything? Emmanuel, can you unmute yourself, please?
Good poetry. Thank you, Ahmad. One of the basic general kind of characteristics of a lot of your poetry is the fact that you are so close to and so inspired by and at times so at one with the natural world. Yeah. And I find that very moving, partly because I am now living in a place where there are virtually no people, but there's a lot of trees and mountains. So I've kind of come into that world myself. And one of the things that seems to be happening to our civilization is that we are, because so many of us are living in cities and so many of us are spending a lot of time on cell phones, losing touch with the natural world and with the delights and the wisdom and the understanding that your poems indicate are there to be found by us. So for that reason, apart from anything else, I urge you to get your poems out there, because we need to be reminded of nature.
Thank you. I think you'd like the article on the true significance of COVID-19.
I would, yes, we would, yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I'm eager to check
Just
it out.
email me, I'll send it. It starts with a quotation from Wordsworth.
Which is?
Oh, really?
Yeah, let me just share that. Let me see if I can find the thing. It won't take me a sec. COVID, where am I? Here we go. Yeah, it's from the Prelude.
Yeah.
And he says, I look about, and should the chosen guide be nothing better than a wandering cloud, I cannot miss my way. I breathe again.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's good.
Wordsworth's great.
He certainly is. I think Cecilawati wants to ask a question. Go ahead, Cecilawati.
Oh, yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Ahmed, thank you very, very much for sharing this morning. And it's wonderful to have so many people from different parts of the world here today, too. And I would like to ask you, Lillian Slanina in Victoria, Subud member, you know, and I are working on a way to share via Zoom this way some cultural things within Canada, but not music, because music comes across unworthy of its origin, so to speak. But I was wondering if we could approach you to do some reading in that format.
Sure.
Would you be willing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm still working with SICA here in Canada, limping along. And we can't gather anymore, so a lot of my work was with people, right? So Lillian is going to support me in that. And I must say that I've never been to the La Salles. I've been to the south of France visiting other Subud members, but not them. And I could sense the scent of where you were when you were reading about it. The scent came to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Cecilawati. I'd like to ask a question, Ahmed. You talk about how the poetry is coming through you. Well, does it come through you when you get up in the morning? I know that you've recently discovered the joys of riding around Victoria on your electric bike. So is that when the poetry begins coursing through your veins, or comes to you?
It's just any time, really. But I can feel it. I can feel it physically moving through me. So it's kind of in me before it's in my consciousness. And it's like, oh, there's another one on its way, you know. So they feel like they're sent, or they're, you know, it's a lovely feeling, actually.
Must be. But then do you sit down at a regular time to let this feeling get expressed on paper, or do you type it on a computer? How does that work for you?
Both. I always have a journal that I keep with me all the time. And I'm always writing in my journal. And so if something like the poem about the Governor General's garden, you know, I was there. And so I just started writing it right there, you know, because it came through right then. And I just put it in my journal, and then I work on it, leave it for a while sometimes, work on it. It has its own, the poems have their own way, you know, writing has its own way. And our job isn't to push it around like it's a thing. It's sacred stuff. and it's from God. And so it's not mine, and so but I can tweak it. That's where I come in, add my little bit. Yeah.
Very profound. Does somebody else want to say something? I'll go to Sophia first and then to Halima Collingwood. Sophia, you have to unmute yourself.
Thank you. I especially loved your first two poems. I could feel them. And I just wanted to tell you that when you read the poem that was on your teaser, it meant so much more than when I read it. Thank you so much for sharing today.
Thank you.
Now to Halima Collingwood. Halima, did you want to say something?
I am having some, yes, I do. I'm having some internet issues, so I may freeze, who knows. I just wanted to say, amongst the many poems that I really touched me, I loved hearing about Leonard and his house in Provence, because I also lived in Tunbridge Wells for many years, or for a few years. One time I was at his gallery and I was watching him talk to a client about a painting. Afterward, I said, how do you know what to talk to about a prospective client? He said, I listen to what they like, and then I talk about that particular aspect of the painting. Yeah, I thought that was very, was very wise, very insightful. Of course, we know he's a very insightful, connected person. So thank you.
We really enjoy ourselves when we get together, and it was only recently that I discovered he's also a soccer fan, just like me. So sometimes when I'm there, we just go and watch a soccer game. We went to a German guy's place to watch a soccer game together. Yeah. Just another side of Leonard you probably don't know about. That's why I'm sharing that.
Rianti, you have to unmute yourself.
I do?
No, Rianti.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought I would have to leave, but I could come back. Yes, I just want to say one thing is I totally relate to what you say about the way you receive your poetry and how it comes for you. And also the fact that you let it go its own organic way. You don't have to push for publishing because if it needs be, it will be, as we know. So just move at your own pace. And, the best for us is to do nothing.
Absolutely. I'm really good at that.
I don't call it laziness. I call it wisdom.
I'm just being a bit facetious.
I'm good at that too.
But I've
that's very zen. I think that's very zen.
I've always been good at watching grass grow. It's probably my favorite thing.
Oh yeah, me too. Oh.
There's in my book, I quote a Zen thing where the Zen student says to the master, "What is the supreme teaching?" And the master says, "The supreme teaching is that in the spring, the grass grows by itself."
That's what you need. Do nothing.
Yeah.
It happens.
But look, folks, I really have to go very soon. But if there's one more question or comment, I'm loving it. It's like I'm getting all this love from you. I'm getting so much love from you.
Yeah.
It's a feast of love, and I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you so much.
I think we'll draw that to a close, Ahmad, but before we go, is there anything final that you want to say?
Not really. I just felt drawn to do this. I heard about it. I don't know how I even heard about it because I've been kind of withdrawn in a lot of ways. And And I just felt, yeah, what better place, you know, than my Subud family. And so I'm just so happy to have done this. It's just been wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings on all of you.
Thank you. Merci bien.
And just to remind everybody that Ahmad's presentation today and your involvement will be has been recorded, and we'll be posting the video early next week, Monday or Tuesday. It'll be up. And Ahmad, if you want to send me the text for the poems that you read today, we'll include that with the posting, so people will have that.
I will. I'll send it as fast as I can't do it right now. I've got to head off to the dentist. Actually, I've got to get my teeth pulled.
I understand you're busy. And to remind everybody that next week's Zoomuse, September 11th, will be Lydia McWilliam.
Adelia.
McWilliam. Yes, my apologies to Adelia. She's another Canadian poet, and she'll be hosted by Paul Nelson next Friday at the same time, 11 a.m. on the West Coast, and you can work it out for yourself if you're in a different time zone. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.